we bothering?
No, fuck it. We're rolling.
Just jump right in. Just jump in.
We're not starting this podcast with song. We're starting in with tech shit. And here we are doing more music.
I hate when I scat and like I try and do a song and it just you have to listen to it. I hate it. I was listening back to a couple of our podcasts because every once in a while I do that just to make sure we don't sound like assholes.
That's good. Keep yourself humble, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And I listened to a couple of like parts where I was like singing and scatting and stuff, and I was like, oh, just hurry this part up, Sam. Oh my god.
Well, we're hard on ourselves.
So I apologize to everyone who had to sit through that.
I'm sure there's people out there who enjoy it because we're hard on ourselves, right? Like,
I guess so. And like I did think of that when I was like being hard on myself in the moment when I was listening to that, but I still don't.
Yeah, I feel you, man. So you just it's like when I edit stuff, I'll like hear myself make a joke and I'd be like, well, that wasn't very funny. But it's like just because I don't think it's funny doesn't mean that like someone else won't.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's also the principle of like you want to make stuff that would make you laugh.
Right.
And then just that attracts people. Period, because you're having a good time. It's contagious. They get attracted to your good time that you're having.
Well, if I cut out everything that I absolutely did not laugh at, we would have like 2-minute videos, like, which is not to disparage us. It's just like, how many times do you watch a video where you laugh out loud all the way through?
Yeah,
right?
Almost never.
Never.
It's well, like we've talked about this before. I don't know if we've talked about it on like any podcast or video or anything like that, but. Sometimes when I'm watching comedy, like comedians, like stand-up, I don't laugh, but I still find it funny.
Yeah, you go, oh, that's funny.
And you were talking about a George Carlin special that you watched where, like, you at some point you realized that you weren't laughing anymore, but you were still having a good time and finding
very
what
engrossed.
To be funny.
Yes.
Yeah, like you found it funny, but you weren't laughing.
Well, it's like I was talking about this with Brad the other day. We were talking about Tambourine, Chris Rock's most recent special.
Okay.
Where Tambourine's a great special.
Pretty good special. Yeah.
It's well paced and he wrote it really well and it's well shot. It's directed by Bo Burnham, which so it's like it's got this flair.
It's got like a good thesis overall, like running thing about how you got to play the tambourine sometimes.
Yeah, totally. And it's not the funniest Chris Rock special though.
I gotta be honest, I have seen highlights from his most legendary stand-up specials, but I have never seen a full special of his except for Tambourine.
Is it called the Leather Special, the one that he's famous for? Or Black Special or something?
I think, was the Leather Special an Amy Schumer special?
Oh, that might be Amy Schumer. That's ringing a bell.
Yeah, but there is a special, something to do about leather, and he's wearing a leather coat the whole time.
Yeah, that's his famous one. He wears like a leather coat.
Yeah. I think that's the one where he tells the joke about how there's a bunch of like crazy famous black people on his street and
then the white guy's a dentist. Yeah. It's the same
one.
special where he's talk about people in the black community who are like, I raise my kids, like I'm a good husband. Yeah. It's like, well, you want a cookie?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great special.
Supposed to do. Yeah.
You know what we should do for this podcast, Sam?
Chris Rock. Just recite just
comedy.
Specials.
Yeah. Let's just bring up our favorite bits and then do our impression of them.
Make people listen to that.
Yeah.
People love that.
Yeah, someone else wrote this.
But we won't remember them in full, so it'll just be us going, like how Chris Rock says it. It's like, so just imagine him saying it. It's funnier when he does it anyways.
The whole time. It's just like, oh, there's this great John Mulaney bit where he's like, like United Airlines, he does like and he walks up. He walks up and he does like the talks to the counter guy.
Sometimes you miss your plane. Do you ever like miss your? Yeah, he's like talking about that. So he's talking about missing a plane.
I don't remember the rest though. Such a good bit. Such a good bit though.
That's just definitely. I'm gonna look it up on YouTube, and then it's like 5 minutes of silence while we Google it.
Yep. The worst feeling in the world is laughing really hard at a bit and then telling your friends about it, and then they're like, "Oh, show us that," and then you show it to them, and it's just like crickets.
Crickets. Yeah, and you're like, "Why aren't you?" And you're like,
"Oh my god!" Right? That moment.
Yeah. And like, that's pretty funny. And you're like,
yeah. Guess you had to be there.
Yeah.
That's why I don't show anyone internet videos.
That's why I don't like talking too much about things that I've laughed at while I'm high.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's never as funny as it is in the moment.
Because the things you laugh at when you're high are dumb shit. Because everyone laughs at dumb shit when they get high.
It's just like you're by yourself, you're comfortable. You can't recreate the environment that allowed you to laugh that hard for that person in that moment. So just don't fuck.
It's funny.
Stop telling me your weed stories.
Well,
I can't fucking
it's funny, right? Like,
relate.
It's like the thing with weed stories is that like if you weren't there and you aren't high, they're not interesting.
Yeah.
Right? Like I had a friend of mine.
Tell that to all of my friends in middle school.
I don't remember what middle school. Wow. I don't remember what friend this was.
Kitchener.
I remember what friend this was. It was in university, but they would take like high notes or whatever, like write down high thoughts and like recount them later on.
Yeah.
And like they were never like super funny or like really.
Did they make sense even?
Not even most of the time. But the thing that irked me about that is like, it was like, okay, I get it. You smoke weed. You know what I mean? Like we all smoke weed.
Yeah.
Like, I understand how like amazing it feels to smoke. Like when you first start smoking weed, you know, you hit a bowl for like the first time and you actually get high. Like it's a crazy feeling. And you think it's this whole, and it's new for you, right?
Yeah.
So you like chase it and you're like, oh my God, my brain is thinking all these things I never thought before. But like 4 years later, when you've been a pot smoker for this long and someone's like, oh, you want to hear this thing I thought about when I was high last night? I'm like, no, I get high every day. I'm not interested in being your stupid stoner bullshit.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. I also don't like when you're like, I feel like kids, people who
teenagers
who are below the legal smoking age who get into it, put it up on a pedestal.
Of course.
So it's like even before you get high, you're already like all the way up at the
Whoa,
top.
bro, we're gonna get high.
Yeah, so you've already like, you know, you've already made it more than what it is. And then you get high.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, we're not supposed to be doing this, but here we are.
It's funny. There's a panel.
Well, there's another panel.
Nah, it wasn't reinforced. It's fine.
Yeah.
I was gonna say in high school. When did you first smoke weed? Do you remember the first time you smoked weed?
I think I was like 21 or 22. I was in university.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That late, huh?
Yeah.
Well, because you were pretty like, no,
oh, the
bad
government
weed.
got me good. The government got me good with marijuana.
You're like, no, weed is a gateway drug to other harder drugs.
I don't know if anybody else out
Which
there.
is not true.
I don't know if anybody listens to this outside of Ontario, but in Ontario there was a government, like a provincially funded anti-drug campaign, with like commercials and bus ads where it had like a girl. And she was like beautiful, and then she like took a hit off of a joint at a party one time, and then it like slowly moved into her like doing like meth.
Yeah, oh my God, I remember those commercials.
It ended with her like ugly. She had like shitty hair done and like track marks all up her arm, and they were like, "Dude, like, is this what you want to look like? Don't do drugs."
And you're like, no.
Yeah, and just. It got me, like, you know. I was like, and for what it's worth, one of my friends,
who's a meth head now?
No, one of my pillar like childhood friend who I was like super close with, spent like weeks at her house at a time, you know, was like close with her family, called her mom. She called me daughter.
Aww.
We were really, really close all through elementary school, and then she started doing weed, and she changed her appearance. She changed her beliefs. We didn't see eye to eye on anything anymore, and it just like our friendship fell apart because of it. And I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh, it wasn't the weed. It was the weed.
It was the weed. Come on.
It was the weed. It wasn't the weed in the sense that like, when we finally stopped being friends."
When did she start smoking weed?
She started smoking weed, I want to say middle school, like grade 7.
Too young.
Yeah.
That is way too young.
Yeah. Middle school for sure. I don't know if it was like, it was some point during grade 7 into grade 8.
And that would fuck up your brain development so much.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know what she's doing right now.
I'm sure she's fine.
Does
she have dreadlocks now?
Yeah, she's a white girl with dreadlocks. So
there's your answer.
You know, she did progress the same way the girl in the commercial did.
It's true.
And if you remember the commercial, the final product was what she looked like in high school. Like in grade 9, she had like a shitty scene kid haircut. Mm-hmm. It was in style at the time, but looking back, it's a shitty haircut. And so I saw that, and I saw that the girl looked exactly like my friend, and I was like, oh my God, it's her. Oh my God. Like, and she smokes weed. And I knew that she was experimenting with other psychedelics at the time as well. Like she was getting more and more into like LSD and like mushrooms and stuff. So I was like, oh my God, this is her. this is her. This happened to her. It could happen to anyone. All of my friends. And like I had other really close friends from childhood who like, to sum it up very, very abrasively, started smoking weed and got uglier. So
at least in your eyes.
So I was like, oh my God, it makes you do this.
The government was right.
It really is as bad as they say it is. Oh my God, I gotta just not do this. So I went completely in the other direction, was a complete square. Didn't do anything. I mean, that's why I didn't do shit in high school. Didn't go to parties, didn't do any of that shit. I mean, like, pardon me, I burped. I look at your high school experience. I'm like, oh man, like Cam actually like went to parties and his parents were like cool about drinking and didn't make it out to be so scary. And I wish my parents had done that. But the parties that were available to me that I at least knew of were like in grungy, grody basements.
Yeah.
Where like somebody had like a single mom who was always at work. So that enabled them to like have people over all the time. But because it was a single income family, like they weren't nice houses. And I'm not begrudging single moms. But like, yeah,
what a stance to take.
I know, but like because it's what they could afford, like they were in like bad parts of town.
Sure.
You know, it was for anybody who knows KW, it was in like the Chandler Mowat area, which is like low income. So I didn't want to go there. Like they weren't good places. There was crime at the time that I knew of in Chandler Mowat, or at least that's what it was painted out to be.
And you were already so scared straight.
Yeah.
So like, why the fuck, that makes sense.
So I'm like, I'm not gonna go anywhere or do anything. I sat in my house watching TV until I met my current circle of friends, including like Emily and Shirk Boy. And even then, we didn't go out every weekend. I spent a lot of weekends still just like in my house watching TV.
See, I'm envious of that. I wish I did more of that when I was in high school.
No, it's good. You have stories to tell and stuff like that. You have that hilarious cake story to tell.
Yeah. Go listen to episode 11 of our podcast with Bradley Mendez.
Yeah. So like there's all that, but no, sorry. So I didn't touch weed until I was a lot older and, realized that a lot of people who I consider to be good people smoked weed. Mm-hmm. People who I trusted. And, I learned that the consequences of me smoking weed, if I were to start touching it, wouldn't be bad. Nobody would be like, oh my God, like I never expected Sam to do that. That was my biggest fear, is that one day I would hear somebody that I loved and respected say, wow,
I thought you were better than that.
Yeah, I never expected her to do that. That's unbelievable.
It's an unbelievable amount of pressure you put on yourself there.
Yeah. So, didn't touch weed until very late in life. But looking back, I do think that...
Well, never mind.
I do think that the age limit is there for a reason.
Well, yeah.
And I feel a little bit more secure knowing that I was well into my physical adulthood, my brain's developmental adulthood, before I started touching weed.
Listen, dog, I'm not going to say habitual, but I'm a frequent smoker. I like smoking pot. Mm-hmm. I smoked pot in high school, like any other dumbass kid who used to go to parties.
Yeah.
I was not the kind of smoker I am now, though.
Yeah.
In high school, and I think that's the way it ought to be.
When did you start buying weed and keeping it in the house? When did it stop being a social thing?
Second year.
Of university?
After Unity, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, like...
I was in my 20s at the time, too.
Yeah, that's when it becomes a habit, because you have it lying around and you're like, oh, well, may as well.
And it was also like, I mean, not to like bum anybody out, but I was in a pretty bad headspace at the time, and my living conditions were poor because of me.
Yeah.
And it was just, weed became this, like, if I can share my experience, like, we became like a
crutch?
Like the happy smoking. You smoke and you get happy.
Yeah.
And then like you hate how you feel when you're sober.
Okay.
So like a lot of my like, and again, I'm making it sound like I was fucking like deep in the sauce. No, I smoked too much weed and it was bad. Yeah. That's long story short.
Yeah.
Now I smoke what I would describe as a healthy amount of weed, and I think I'm happier with that.
Yeah.
Learning to love how to be sober is important when you're stoned all the time.
Yeah. You can't lean on substances to be happy.
But do you remember the first time you smoked weed?
I do. It was at my friend's apartment. And
who?
Can I say her name? I think I can. It was my friend Sarah's apartment, and all of us together. Some of my friends had already touched it. That was the other thing too, is that like my other friends who, like, when we were in high school together, we were like, weed is bad. Fuck anybody who smokes weed. You're so bad. But then like those friends started getting into it and like being okay. So I saw that and I was like, okay,
Oh,
I
right.
like kind of piques my curiosity. And like everybody else in my life has smoked weed or currently smokes weed.
Yep.
And they're fine. So maybe cool off a little bit there, Sam.
Maybe things are okay.
So we were like, okay, we're going to go to Sarah's apartment because Sarah was the only one not living with her parents at the time. And we're like, Sam's going to try weed for the first time.
Were you nervous? Do you remember being nervous?
No, because I went to a place where I felt safe. I'd been to Sarah's apartment before. Like I had all of my close friends with me who I trusted, and we decided that this is what we were going to do, and we were going to try it, and we were going to stay in this environment. And I think Sarah actually withheld from smoking weed because she
wanted to be the
Sarah had already like gone through her drug phase and was actually kind of over marijuana. So like she was like, yeah, I'll be the babysitter. Like I'll volunteer. I'll be the babysitter and make sure that everybody's okay. So like I set up a safe environment for myself to try it for the first time. So I wasn't nervous, and it did nothing.
Yeah. You didn't get high.
I had never smoked anything. I'd never tried a cigarette. I had never had to like fake smoke on stage. I didn't understand
how to smoke.
So I think I just didn't inhale properly.
Were you like?
I was like, well, there's smoke coming out of my mouth, and I breathed in. So it was. I did a bong first. And
wow, what a mistake.
Yeah, but I didn't do it properly, so it didn't do anything.
Right.
So I was like, I don't feel it. And then I smoked weed a couple more times with my friend Emily. Again, like with people who I trusted and knew loved me, and in an environment, in a space, like a physical space where I felt safe. It was at their house. And they used to make what we called Buscemis, which is basically just like when you, I know it's a term. It's not what you're thinking. We redefined it for ourselves. It's when you empty out a cigarette and
completely.
All the tobacco. You take out all the tobacco.
Actually, Brad Mendez used to do that.
And just use, it's basically like training wheels for a joint.
Yeah.
Because you have the formed cigarette
and you
already.
You have the filter.
You just have to fill it up with pot instead of tobacco.
Yeah.
So like Emily would like empty out the tobacco, like save it because they made their own pre-rolls because they also smoke cigarettes, and then just like fill it up with weed and like give it to me, and like I would split that with one of my other friends
and get like fucked up rocket high.
Yeah, I would have like 2 hits off of Buscemi and be fine.
Like, I'm
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd like go to Tim Hortons.
The reason why I say the reason my reaction was as gross before you explained what it was is because in high school, when you mix weed and a cigarette together, it was called a popper.
Yes.
And poppers are gross.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Those are not cool. Really bad for you too.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I smoked. First time I smoked weed ever was in Vancouver, actually.
Oh right, you tried it with your cousins.
I was in grade 9.
Sorry to out your cousins.
Whatever. They live in Vancouver. It's the most like if there's one place to smoke weed in Canada before it was legal, it was Vancouver.
Yeah.
Well, BC, I guess, not Vancouver. Because I was in Langley. So I was walking around, and then they had a joint, and Duncan was there, and he was like, "You want to try it, dude?" And then I was like, "Yeah, sure, man."
Did you and your brother try it for the first time together?
No, Duncan had smoked weed a bunch of times at that point. Because I was going into high school, and he had been in high school for 2 years already.
Right.
So I tried it, and first we'll go around and get anything because I know how to smoke.
Yeah.
Then Duncan was like, "Breathe it in." I was like, "Okay." So I took it, and then went like, and then like, you know, if you do that, what's gonna happen is your throat and lungs, which have been breathing nothing but air for 14 years, are suddenly filled with smoke.
Yep.
And like on fire. I like coughed
and
and coughed and coughed and coughed. I was crying and spitting and coughing, and then I stood up and was like, like so high, just like really toasted. And we met up with my cousin Alex's friends later, who fucked with us. They showed up in a car and had like a big spotlight, and like started flashing like legit like red and blue lights, and like shining spotlights. I was high as fuck, right? Yeah. So I'm high as fuck. I'm 14 years old. I'm in a province I don't live in, and I think there's a cop. So I was like, oh, Duncan, we gotta get out of here. But then, obviously, it turned out to be their friends.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big deal.
It was okay.
Yeah, man. That was the good old days. That was the first ever time I started smoking pot. And then, like, went on to do it here and there periodically. And now I just have my own and do it because I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't drink anymore, right? So
it's a nice... I usually do it at the end of the day.
Me too.
When I'm, like, satisfied with everything that I've accomplished. And just, like... just round it out. I'm like, okay, I can, there's like a bit from Two Dope Queens that I want to find in the specific episode. So I've been like, I started back at like episode 1 and I've been like slowly working my way through all the episodes. So I'll just like sit outside and like listen to like some good comedy and just relax.
Yeah, man.
It's so nice.
I'll be honest, I said this to you off mic.
Go outside, watch some Curb, pass out.
Pass out in the hammock, wake up covered in mosquito bites. Well, the thing with weed smoking is like I used to be like a champion fucking stoner back in the day, but now I don't get high during the day anymore. If it's bright out, I can't do it because I'll get a panic attack.
No.
I'll get crushed by my responsibilities.
Yeah. Because you're like, I shouldn't be doing this.
Exactly.
I should not be doing this.
I can only justify getting high during the day on like a Sunday or something.
Yeah.
If I really have nothing to do.
Honestly, now that I don't have a job and like all of my work is completely self-motivated, I just don't want to do it.
No.
I mean, I never did do it during the day, to be honest. That's just not the kind of person I am.
You would only get day high if we were hanging out.
But like, if I can't justify, and it's hard to say like, okay, today's gonna be my quote unquote day off,
right?
Because it's like
you're not getting paid for anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, but you have to be kind to yourself too, because if you're doing work 5 days of the week, like if you actually like 9 to 5 yourself,
yeah,
and like you're not getting money for it, but you're putting in the effort, that's still energy spent.
Yeah,
and you need time to recuperate. Yeah, right. So,
but it's a lot more easygoing now because I can just like I make a schedule for myself. So when I'm not here recording and doing chill spot stuff, I make a schedule for myself the night before. So I'll be like, okay, by 11 a.m. I want to be sat down in front of my computer doing work. And I'll be like, okay, so I've modeled it after school. So I give myself 75-minute periods.
Right.
And I'll be like, okay, 75 minutes, set a timer. I want to do chill spot promotion. Okay, 75 minutes. I want to do research for this project that I want to do. Okay, 75 more minutes. I want to switch gears, work on a different project. You know? And like I can seriously, if I start at 11 and I give myself like 3 75-minute periods, I can be done by like 3:30.
Yeah.
And
11
like
to 3 is not bad shift.
Since it's so relaxed and there's no stress yet, once these projects start taking form, I might be under some stress. I might have to justify some days off.
Stress would be good though.
Yes, good stress. But as of right now, like since it's entirely self-motivated and I don't have a boss breathing down my neck, I don't feel any stress. I don't feel any pressure. I feel the best mentally I have in my entire fucking life.
That's so good to hear though.
So I don't feel like I need to give myself a day off. I feel fine chugging along. I can keep going. So yeah, maybe when some of these projects start taking form, I can justify like, oh, okay, so Sunday is going to be my day off. Mm-hmm. I can justify doing a day high thing or whatever.
Well, I mean, even then when I say like I very rarely have nothing to do on a Sunday because that's not the way my life works. Mm-hmm. I usually do the week's editing on a Sunday, or I'll have like D&D or something. Mm-hmm. So you gotta like also like parse your days.
Mom is home on the weekends. Like she doesn't have work. She doesn't play golf. Like she doesn't have anything to do, and she's just around.
You should get high with your mom.
No.
That would be so much fun.
She's not gonna want to.
She's not interested at all?
Nah, not really. She just said like the one time she did get high, she just went to sleep. So
there was one time. Okay, so I'm not trying to come after.
No, I know, but it's like she doesn't want to do it again. So.
That's fine. Obviously, it's fine, but it's something that like my parents are the same way. It's like, listen, dude, if you took a single hit off a joint and then didn't feel anything and went and ate chips somewhere, like that's not like you gotta like try again.
Yeah.
Like. Get high, and then you can parse whether or not you didn't want to do it anymore, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because like I think if you should always whole ass everything, you should never half ass something. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to experiences, especially things like marijuana, it's like
doing drugs recreationally.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't half ass it.
No, hell no, baby. If I'm getting high, I'm getting high.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I am happy with my trajectory with drugs.
My current drug usage.
I think I did it right.
Yeah.
It was right for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, even when we met, like, started being friends and hanging out, especially when we started dating, like, I could still sense, like, reluctance from you when it came to marijuana.
Well, when it came to dating, I just wanted to be sure that I wasn't dating Seth Rogen and knocked
fucking
up.
Loser?
Yeah, exactly. Because, I did have friends who had problems with dudes, and I do mean dudes.
Well, who else is gonna fucking be?
Like couldn't handle like just the way that they went about consuming drugs.
Right, like smoking a bowl before going to dinner with like your parents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I literally had a coworker / friend who like had a really smoking hot boyfriend, and like on the outside you would think that they were like this great couple, but she was like, we can't go out to dinner for a date night. I'll be like, okay, tonight is date night, we're gonna go out to a restaurant. He'd be like, okay, and then have to like smoke a huge bowl before they go out. And it's like, you have to smoke a bowl before going out to dinner with your girlfriend? Like, man, that's the worst.
Yeah.
That's the absolute worst.
That does suck. See, it's like, yeah, like I don't get that, man.
So I just
like,
wanted to make sure I didn't have that.
And you know what? I think like to give you like credence to your worry, I definitely was like bordering on smoking too much weed at the time. Like I definitely was smoking too much at the time.
You were consuming a lot, but even at your worst, you could still be sober for things when you needed to be.
Well, I had a handle on it in that regard.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like being high around people that I didn't feel like I could be high around.
I know that your habit was bad for you, but in the grand scheme of things, like honestly, Cam,
as far as addictions go,
it really like it didn't impede on my life or our relationship to the point where I was like, I'm worried about Cam and his like weed consumption.
Maybe
it was always when you did it a lot, but you knew when you shouldn't be doing it, and you never crossed that line.
That's good.
So
that's good to hear. I guess.
That's what was important for me. You know, I never felt like you smoked weed in a situation where I didn't want you to get high.
So you're saying I should go back to 5 bong rips a session?
No. No, because you weren't happy with your weed consumption,
Yeah.
so you made a change, and I'm glad that you saw that in yourself and recognized that and rectified it.
Well, because like I mean, and I say this a lot because okay, I'm gonna sound like I'm a fucking stickler. I really do love pot.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think smoking a healthy amount of marijuana is good for you.
It's like you. I always use this statement that you said once. You said it's like a beer at the end of the night.
Exactly.
Some people come home and have a beer or a glass of wine every single night after work. Mm-hmm. And after a day of work, you and we like to smoke a little bit of weed.
Smoke a little bit of pot, maybe have like half a bag of chips and watch some anime or something, right? The thing with weed though, and this is a bit of a cautionary tale. The thing with weed is that weed is very good at making you happy, right? Mm-hmm. But when you do it habitually all the time, it makes you happy with your life. Like for me, weed boosted my aspirations.
Right.
I would smoke weed and think about the great career I'm going to eventually have.
Right.
And like, I'll be honest with you, in the theater school that we went to and the environment we were in, it was very easy to feel like you were bigger than who you are.
Yeah.
So that combined with general depression, combined with tons of pot smoking, boosted my aspirations to the point where I realized that all I was doing was smoking weed and feeling this way, and I actually was getting nothing done.
Okay.
And I wasn't moving myself forward.
Okay.
I was just stagnant.
Okay.
And that scared me.
Okay.
Which is why I immediately was like, I had this epiphany when I was actually moving back here to the house with mom and dad, and I was straight up just like, it's bad for me, and I think if I stay on this track, I might find that I'll be 35 in my parents' backyard smoking a bong on a Tuesday afternoon.
Gotcha.
Because it's all I have.
Gotcha.
And not to name names, but I have a family member who is that.
Okay.
And it just kind of put the fear of God in me a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's struggle because I like marijuana. I don't want to stop smoking it.
Yeah.
I just think I needed to curb how much I was smoking by a lot.
And you needed to readjust your vision for your life.
Yeah.
To be more realistic, I would say.
Well, because at the point, basically my litmus was that if I can't stand being sober, I have a problem.
Right.
And that's what it was.
Right.
I would be sober, and the only thing I would think about was like what I need to do to get to the point where I could smoke weed and be happy.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's not good.
Right.
If you're having those thoughts, you should maybe reconsider something, right?
Right.
That's where I was, and I'm far better. It's been 2 years since that point.
Yeah.
I still smoke weed all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm not like not doing anything anymore. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, like, you needed to go on that journey, and I'm glad that you never stopped. This is coming from me. I'm glad that you never stopped being critical of yourself, but in a good way.
Oh, believe you me, Sam, I'm very critical of myself.
Yeah. But in a good way. Not in the way that I am, where it just, like, paralyzes you and makes you not do anything at all. Because you're like, any move I make is the wrong move.
I'm very action-oriented when it comes to myself personally.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be like, no, I gotta do this right now. But believe you me, that's not perfect. Like, it does blow me in the ass sometimes.
Yeah.
And you give yourself some credit, too, Sam. Like, you're You took action. Maybe you're a little slow to start, but once you start taking action, you took it.
What are you referencing?
Like your job or something. Like general change, like personal change for the good.
Oh, okay. Like making new habits for myself. And yeah. Well, I'm going to sneeze. Oh. I feel it coming on. So just be aware of that. But I'm going to carry on. It might happen. It might not. Mm-hmm. No, like it's funny. Because I set up these like frames for myself where I'm like, okay, as long as I'm this, I am not this. So for the longest time it was, yeah, I still live with my mom, but I have a job, you know, I do my job well, and I just have my stuff on the side that I try and pursue in the meantime. And I also try and just like not be a dirtbag, you know, like I keep my room clean. I respect my mom's rules for the house, and we respect each other. I live well with my mom.
You guys are very copacetic in that regard.
Yeah. So I would even say that our relationship has gotten better because of the circumstances. And then shit got tough at work and having a job. And
to put it lightly.
To put it very lightly. And I couldn't do it anymore. And I know that this is extremely privileged of me because I have friends who are in the exact same position as I am and should quit their jobs so that they can focus on getting their career started, but simply don't have a extremely supportive and understanding mother and the financial ability to take time to not have a job for a while. And that's because of the financial literacy that my mom gave me when I was 15 and got my first job. She was like, this is how you're going to handle your money. So because you're going to need it one day.
Shout out to mom.
This. So I have friends who don't have that privilege, but I did. And so I quit my job, and I'm not working. And I was like, okay, well, for the longest time I was like, as long as I have a job, then I'm not a complete deadbeat. Well, here I am living at my mom's house and I don't have a job. And I'm like, okay, well, if I'm not, and I had to readjust. I had to reconfigure. So I was like, okay, if I'm not going to have a job, I need to work on my career full force.
Yeah, full time.
All of my days are going to be about starting my career, because what else am I going to do?
Well, yeah, you literally did this to do this, so do it.
I could quit and just go get another job. There are always people... Do you want
to bleep that, by the way?
Oh, shit, I said it. Yes, please.
Yeah, okay.
I could... Thank you for telling me that. I could, work at another grocery store or just another store that needs temp staff right now. I could do that. I could get any job, any jobby job that I wanted. I could just switch Jeffrey Owens grinds. But I'm not going to do that because it's just going to be the same shit, different pile.
There's lots of people who do freelance, and you know what? Like, you talked about being privileged, and I think that's a good word because it's like, yeah, we are lucky to have the situation that we're in.
Yes.
And I think that we can't operate on what other people are capable or not capable of, right?
Yeah.
We need to operate on what we're capable of.
I can't say, oh, well, that's a privilege, so I'm not going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, then why are you eating?
And that's something that I am thinking about a lot.
You need to take advantage of your situations.
Well, because the word privilege comes up a lot these days, and people are like, you need to be aware of your privilege. You need to be aware of your privilege.
There's nothing wrong.
You need to be aware of your privilege. And
I think we're quite aware of it.
You can have your privilege, and you can be aware of your privilege, but is it so bad to use it still?
Okay, so...
Is it a crime to use your privilege?
We talked about this...
And that's the question that I've been asking myself a lot lately, where it's like, if you have privileges, is it bad to use them? Is it a human rights violation to use your privileges?
I don't think it is, as long as you're honest about it.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, like, if I get famous tomorrow, and I'm an actor for the rest of my life, I would have to then forever acknowledge, hey, this only worked out for me because my mom was like, yeah, sure, I'll support you while you do this. And that gave me the time to really plug in and commit to, a successful career in the entertainment industry.
Say that. I personally...
I would never be one of those people who were like, yeah, I'm self-made.
I did it all myself.
I woke up at 6 a.m. every day and I sat down on my computer and I didn't stop until I had a career. And it's like... Okay, but those people don't admit that they had the time to sit at a computer and really work on themselves and their careers and contact people and have meetings and do all of the unpaid work that this industry wants you to do before it starts paying you. Mm-hmm. So Yeah, I think, and that's sort of the conclusion that I've come to as well, is as long as I acknowledge, I'm lucky that my mom was like, sure, don't work.
Yeah.
Like,
do your thing.
What? What? So, yeah, no, but I am going to use that privilege and that time to make something of myself.
Well, there you go.
Because I don't want to sit in my mommy's house forever.
No, we want to definitely move out of our mommy's house. I want to
sit in my own house and smoke weed one day.
Yeah, exactly. But no, man, that's why it really.
Towards that.
I think the worst thing you can tell young artists is that you should do it all yourself, because that's a lie. Like, even people who aren't privileged, like us, who have good opportunities and privileges, someone is going to help you.
Yeah.
Like, no one gets to where they are without help.
Yeah.
And I mean no one.
Yeah.
And I think that's a narrative that we should change as we grow. Yeah. Like, people tell all these lies about, like, Jeff Bezos starting Amazon in a garage.
His parents' garage.
Well, first of all, it was in his parents' garage.
Your parents have a garage, Jeff? Mine don't.
Yeah, your parents have a garage who they let you convert and do a business.
Yes.
So, like, that's a privilege.
Yeah.
That's not something everybody has.
Yeah.
But if he was, I mean, maybe Jeff Bezos is a good example, but, like, if he was more honest about that, I maybe like the guy a little bit more. I mean, not for other reasons that we don't necessarily need to go into, but it's like, I wish more people, like, another good example is, who came under fire? King Princess came under fire recently because they found out she's, like, hella rich, and like her parents' connection got to, well, she's obviously rich off her own music now, but like her parents got her the opportunity to get in the booth and then sing, and then she also turned out to be very talented and good, so she blew up. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Every high-performing famous person comes from a rich background.
Can I use Nick Kroll as an example, too?
Oh, go right ahead. I'll just fix this panel while you tell this story.
Well, no, like, he's very honest about this. So Nick Kroll's dad has an investigative agency that was, like, hired to find Bin Laden's, like, secret cave or whatever. Locate a bunch of his assets after he died. That's how
crazy.
That happened. So his agency, like, headed that whole investigation. So his parents are very rich. He comes from a rich family, and has his whole life he's been rich. His dad, he told an embarrassing story on Armchair Expert one time about how, like, he hated it when his dad drove him to school because his dad had a limo.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, like, he has all that, but he's a talented person. Like, he's not, he can't do 25 voices on Big Mouth because his daddy's rich.
Oh, exactly. He did that himself.
Like,
he did himself.
He has that talent. However, his parents being rich
helped a lot.
him to like, not have to jump over some of the hurdles that people who don't have rich parents can jump through. But he has a talent, but his talent was allowed to flourish because his parents, like, gave him the time and the space to really sort that out. Yeah. So it's kind of like, I mean, like, I could go in circles forever and ever. It's like, but he's talented, but his parents gave him the time to do it, but he's talented.
Both of those things are true.
Both things are true at the same time.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And yeah, it's not wrong. It's not bad. It's just good that he talks about it.
It's good that he acknowledges it.
So that when people like me, who at the time when I found out this information, like, had a part-time job, and I was like, why haven't I created a successful sketch show with my best friends yet? Well, it's because I have to work a part-time job.
Well, because none of your best friends are John Mulaney. Like,
I didn't go to Georgetown, which is a really good school, meet another really talented comedian, and make really good stuff.
That's just it, right? Like, that's the biggest thing about, like, why don't you go out there and start your own thing? Is because, like, me, as an average fucking Joe Blow, I don't have an audience. Yeah. I have my mommy.
And it's like, let's talk about this, right? Because, like, I went to UW and I met you. I think we're both talented and we started this channel together.
I don't think we're untalented.
So at the time that we started this channel, literally up until about 2 weeks ago, I was dealing with doing this channel and having a part-time job, and I would come down, I would work like 6 to 2:30 on a Wednesday, come down here, like, come home from work, shower, pack a bag, drive an hour almost to come up here to record Chill Spot, which requires actively listening, being funny, and like having the energy and being present, performing, which is work for an entire day, like an entire Thursday. Yeah. And then drive the hour back to Kitchener after a full day of recording, and like, I would stay for dinner, so I would be leaving at like 10-11 at night. Yep. After hanging out with you and your family for an entire evening, because I'm not fucking rude. Only to work at like sometimes like 6 a.m. the next day. I had to fix my availability finally because I was like, I can't work at 6 o'clock after a full day of performing.
Yeah.
You would not ask somebody from Hamilton to perform and take all of the energy that it takes to perform and then go lug cases of water and heavy bags of like System Saver salt, like water softener salt.
At 6 a.m. the next day.
At 6 a.m. for 8 hours the next day. That's fucking hell.
And then sometimes perform again.
I was literally doing that. Mm-hmm. That's hell.
It's hell.
That's why I broke down.
Well, yeah, because
I couldn't do it anymore.
Because you weren't, like, I'll be honest with you, Sam. Like, I
had to be like, hey, can I start at like 10 on Fridays? Because we record on Thursdays. And I'd be like, can you just give me time.
And your boss was like, no!
Sometimes they pushed it.
Yeah.
You know, they'd be like, okay, so you can start at like 8:30. And I'd be like, great, thanks.
So gracious.
I guess.
Fucking ridiculous.
So, yeah. It's hard. You know, like
I'm very happy you quit your job.
Oh, I'm so happy. But not everybody can afford to do that. Some people still have to do it anyways.
Right, but you could, so you should have.
Yeah.
That's basically the fucking long and short of that.
And I acknowledge that some people have to do it anyways still. They have to suck it up.
And you know what?
Sometimes they even work full-time jobs.
I hear your plight, man.
Yeah.
Like, believe you me, I'm not trying to say that, like, if it was up to me, I think everyone should quit their jobs. Let's all not have jobs. Fuck it. Fuck the economy. Fuck this society. Mm-hmm. Let's just go back to hunter-gathering.
We made it up.
Let's grow tomatoes in the back, and I'll give you some tomatoes, and you give me some eggs, and then we can make omelets. You know? Like...
We make a nice little tomato and egg omelet.
Fuck all this. You know? Fuck this whole bag, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I think...
Fuck the bag.
I think as long as you're acknowledging privilege, then whatever.
Yeah.
Because what am I supposed to do? Not take advantage of the opportunity? Like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, obviously there's no winning in Twitter, but...
Yeah. And, you know, there's a conversation right now. COVID has sort of brought this up because a lot of people are talking about, like, essential services and who's essential and if artists are one of the essential service workers. Because we all turned to entertainment when we had nothing to do at our house.
Oh, yeah.
But the entertainment industry is rife with unpaid, quote-unquote, opportunities.
Ugh.
That are just avenues for privileged people like me whose parents can afford to let them not have jobs to pursue. And those are the people who then make the entertainment that we consume. So the answer to this is, like, if we're going to keep this whole economy thing, if we're going to keep this whole capitalism concept, pay artists from the jump. Like,
yeah, man.
Like, make it so that people who need jobs can just get jobs in the industry from the jump. I'm not saying you have to hire somebody with no portfolio as a head writer, but, you know, no unpaid internships.
There should
no unpaid apprenticeships. None of that shit anymore. None of that shit.
Go on.
No, continue.
I was going to say, there should be a lot more entry-level positions in the art industry.
That pay a living wage.
Or at least a wage at all. Know? Like,
yeah.
I understand. Believe you me, like, I'm not one of these people who thinks that, like, I don't know. If you make the minimum wage should be a living wage.
Yeah.
Right? So
the least amount of money that you pay somebody should be able to afford them at the least 1-bedroom apartment. And I mean a nice apartment. I mean, like, no bugs, decent lighting, like, good area, you know, like well maintained, you know, stuff like that.
Sure.
You know, I'm not asking for, like, a luxury apartment.
Yeah.
But I'm asking for the things that are considered luxuries, which are, like, bugless, to not be under the luxury, you know.
Well, that's just it, right? Like, I was reading this study on Reddit the other day. I forget who published it, but it was like, if you make minimum wage in America, you can't afford to live in 95% of the states.
Yeah.
So where are you fucking gonna live?
That can't happen.
Like, but what I don't get about that is, like, surely. And maybe I'm just full of fucking shit, right? I don't understand the economy fully because I'm not an economist. But, like, surely it would be in the best interests for people who own properties to have people live in them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like, wouldn't it be in your best interest for people to make more money? Like, generally speaking? Because if people are making more money, they'd be more inclined to buy things, which would then boost the economy.
Yeah.
And then, okay, maybe Jeff Bezos doesn't sit on his fucking $1 trillion hoard of gold like a dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, you only made $2 trillion this year, buddy. What a fucking shame.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, this is somebody, I think this was honestly, all of the social media platforms just recycle each other's content. So I don't know if it was originally a tweet or a Tumblr post, whatever. But somebody wrote once, if you give a millionaire $5 for free, you give them $5 for free, they're going to stick that money in an offshore account, and it's going to sit in that offshore account and not contribute anything. It's just going to collect. And then they're going to ask you for another $5. If you give a working class person $5, they're going to take that $5 and they're going to spend it in your economy.
Yeah.
They're going to put it back in, they're going to, let's say we live in fucking 1925. They're going to go to the movies. They're going to they're going to
go get a burger.
They're going to go get a burger. They're going to go.
With their sweet thing.
Exactly. They're going to buy something nice for themselves. They're going to buy themselves a new shirt, a new pair of shoes. I don't know what economy you're going to spend $5 for shoes on, but
you said the 20s.
Suspend your disbelief.
Yeah,
suspend your disbelief.
The 20s was a goddamn fantasy
They're going to
world.
put it back into the economy. Mm-hmm. So why are you giving billionaires so much free money? It's not going anywhere. It's not going back into their communities, Working class people are going to put the money back into their communities. So pay them a living wage. Pay them a wage so that they can pay their bills and, have some expendable income to keep the economy healthy.
Well, see, I'm going to say something.
I'm not an economist, but that sounds good to me.
Well, I'm going to say something radical in the way that you were just saying. But if I was ever in a position, if I was like the CEO of a company, you want your employees to be happy. Because if your employees are happy, they'll do good work. Mm-hmm. And maybe I'm naive, right? Maybe I'm just totally talking out my butt. And I might be. Who knows? But I think it would be in your best interest to make everyone a living wage, because especially if you do something like if we owned, I don't know, some kind of studio that made a lot of art, right? Would be whatever, right? The best art is made from people who are happy. Or maybe there's people who disagree with that. But in my opinion, you need to be sound and healthy and happy if you want to create.
When I say happy, I mean more so like clear-headed, because problems, you're always going to have problems. But
and money is a very tangible, unavoidable problem.
Yeah. But when I say happy, I mean just content mostly.
Comfortable.
Clear-headed. You don't have a lot of superficial issues like money.
You need you get a paycheck every 2 weeks,
clogging up your thoughts.
That clears your rent every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't got to worry where am I going to find the extra $200 to pay my landlord?
Do I have to choose between having the heat on or having a roof over my head,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If we can do that and make people, if that's something that people didn't have to worry about, I think that society as a whole would benefit from that.
Absolutely.
But there's people out there who just simply do not agree with that.
I know.
And
I know.
We're not powerful enough. We make a podcast for 90 people,
Mm-hmm.
But that's certainly just what I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, this was something that this was a thought that flooded my head every single time I was at my shitty job, because the leadership there was very much built on fear.
Yeah.
You should do this because look at what'll happen to you if you don't.
Right.
And I just completely fucking disagreed with that and thought that it was just so immoral and so not the way to run a team and no way to motivate people to do good work. So just being in that environment just got me down a lot.
Being threatened.
Yes.
You getting threatened.
Yes.
And you were profiled at your job.
Yeah.
If you wanted to share that. I don't want to share it for you, of course. But.
Maybe another time.
Whatever.
I told the story recently. I'm a little tired.
Yeah, it is exhausting.
Yeah.
To deal with racial injustices. And I mean that, I'm not being facetious when I say that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, yeah. I got nothing to add. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. When people are safe and comfy and know that they have a home to go back to, they do good work.
At least in my opinion.
Yeah.
I certainly would be able to do good work.
They want to do good work because, believe it or not, humans do. This is so funny. We were joking about this last night because you asked me what my earliest memory was.
Yeah.
And I have this memory of my cousins and my cousin, because my younger cousin wasn't even born yet, actually.
Wow.
But my cousin Kelsey and I did this thing when we had to be 1 or below the age of 1, where we filled my grandma's spare room with toilet paper. We covered the floor in toilet paper, and my mom and my grandma thought it was hilarious and took pictures and taped it and stuff. And I remember taking the toilet paper and my cousin and I, we weren't speaking yet, but I remember having a cosmic connection to her.
You were both on the same page.
Where we were we need to do this.
Yeah.
And she was yeah. And I was okay, so we're going to keep going. And she was yeah. And I was like, okay. And I remember like taking toilet paper and feeling really purposeful and feeling like I was doing a good deed. Like the process of grabbing toilet paper, running into the other room, spreading it on the floor, going back and doing the same thing over and over again filled me with a sense of purpose. I think that humans intrinsically want to contribute to a bigger cause that's greater than themselves. Whatever they believe that to be, whether it's putting toilet paper on the floor or selling groceries, you know?
Either way.
You know, like people want to do that in some capacity. But like the way that we've set up capitalism right now just like doesn't work, you know? Because like people doing the least amount of work are making the most amount of money. You know, Jeff Bezos doesn't work for his $1 trillion. He doesn't.
You think he maybe pretend that he does.
He doesn't. The people in the warehouses make his $1 trillion.
Yeah.
But they are fighting for bathroom breaks and
being told to shit their pants.
Most likely having 1 or 2 other jobs plus, you know, maybe like a side hustle to make ends meet, and that it just shouldn't be so.
Yeah.
That should simply not be the case.
You know, there certainly is enough money to go around.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Jeffrey.
Literally you, Jeff Bezos.
Goddamn. Oh, man.
Man, eat the rich.
Let's do it. Em. Fry them up, eat them.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're delicious.
Yeah.
Tastes like gold. Spread
it out into passable morsels.
Yeah, really.
Share it with the hungry. Feed the world. But yeah, that's my feelings on that. What did we talk about? We talked about weed. We talked about responsible drug consumption.
Personal stories about drugs and stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's been a pretty good podcast, actually.
Yeah,
if I could say so myself.
I think it's another good one.
You know?
Yeah, I'm just gonna jerk myself off a little bit.
I think this might be the best podcast ever recorded, actually.
Yeah, you know what? I think that we did such a good job. We should take this to the radio and be like, "Excuse me, radio."
Yeah.
Play this for the masses.
Fuck this podcast shit. Let's get to AM radio.
Next level, baby.
Yeah, really.
We're going to the top of the AM charts.
Could we just like hard left turn and become like super conservative and become like AM radio talk show hosts?
I mean, like, it's not just conservative nut jobs that run AM radio. It's gotta be varied still.
Not really. Actually, I will never forget. Last story before we'll cap it off after this. I was driving you and Alyssa into the States so you could fly to New York.
Right.
And the most surreal fucking thing in the world happened. Where like because the 3 of us were in the car, we were chatting, so the radio was down or my music was down. So I had gotten the guys to the airport and I turned the car off. I got the bags out and we said goodbye. And I got back in my car and I turned it on. And the radio came up. But I guess I had like tabbed AM by accident.
Okay.
So the AM radio came on. And it was just like this like church music and like upbeat Christian music.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, it must be like a Christian channel. But it was like right near the end of the song.
Uh-huh.
And then I swear to God, it went into like we're bringing an expert in to talk about how abortion's a sin. And I was just like, oh my God. Seriously.
Oh no.
Out of curiosity, I was like,
expert?
I was like, I need to listen to this. So like, I listened to it for like 5 minutes and was like, this is just on the radio? I found this for free? Like, what? I didn't have to pay for this?
Oh, no.
No. That's what leads me to the believe where it's like, no wonder, I mean, not to get into this fucking can of worms, but no wonder the world is so fucked up when information is like this. You can just stumble upon it.
Oh, my God.
And this person is an expert.
A quote-unquote expert.
Yeah, my buddy Jeffrey, who I like a lot, is an expert on why abortion is a sin. Fucking stupid.
Exactly.
All right.
Oh, man. How do you become an expert on why abortion is a sin?
We
made up sin. Humans made up sin.
Yeah, really.
But I guess you can't tell a religious person that. As far as they're concerned, God is real and he made up sin. So.
All right, Sam, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
Where can you find our podcast?
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and YouTube. You can also find our link tree, which is in all of our social media stuff. If you look us up on Instagram or Twitter. We technically have Facebook, but we never use it yet. I might
working on it.
That. We'll think about it. I'm not gonna hype that up because
be sure to like us on Facebook.
Yeah, it's just there's no time. This is not the time for that. But we do have a link tree which links you to all of the stuff that we do, all of our Let's Plays, all of our streams, which we do on Twitch, which we're having such a fun time with. And again, all of our podcasts. So yeah, be sure to check those out if you liked us, if you want more of us, if you want to tell other people about us. Peep that link tree, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
See you on Tuesday.
See you later. See you later, fam.
Bye.
Bye.
Bro.
Oh, you're just gonna leave and not give me a hug?
Oh, I can't even get one little hug.
Oh, your boyfriend says you can't even have friends?